webinar. My name is Rebecca Matter. I'm the president of ADBI, and I am joined by one of my favorite people in the world, really, Mr. Nick Usborne. How you doing, Nick?
Good. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to chat.
Always a pleasure. We have done so many cool things over the years together, Mr. Usborne. But this has to be one of my favorite because it's been going for so long. We've been doing this for so long. We have so many success stories. I literally just went on a vacation on a girls' trip with one of my best friends who happens to be one of your success stories. Like, it's just so fun to see how all of these stories have transpired. And it all comes back to this idea of this money-making website, as we named it all those years ago. So we're here today to talk, guys, about what a money-making website is, why we recommend everybody have one, how to get started. But let's take it from the tippity top, Nick, if you don't mind. What the heck is a money-making website?
It's a website that makes money, but it does a lot of other things too. It does a lot of other things too. So we kind of put that up because that's everyone is like asking, like, can it make me money? Can it make me money? And it can. And some, I have a number of different sites on different topics, and some make more than others. Some of them are seasonal, make more money around the Christmas period than in the middle of summer, but they're all like amazing. They're like my babies, my little children, and yeah, they all of them generate revenue to some degree. And some of the people that have taken my training on this end up making more than I do. I end up making more than others.
I know a couple of
And
them. One of them is my best friend.
I know, and it's crazy, and it's wonderful, and it's like that's an amazing thing to see, to surpass the teacher. It's a wonderful testament to what they've created. But yeah, whether it's thousands of dollars a month, or for a lot of us, an extra few $100s a month can make a big difference in our lives.
But let's start at the
So
beginning. Like, what is it? So if I'm brand new and you're like, oh, money making website, what is a money making website? How would you define it? And we're getting a lot of,
it's
hello, Amy. Amy's really interested in this topic. And so we're going to really dig in, but just
all
to
right.
make sure there's someone who doesn't know, like you're talking
So
to my mom. Tell my mom. Hi,
it's a
mom.
website. So
Okay.
it's a website on an informational website. So my first money making website was coffeedetective.com, which is an information site on how to make quality gourmet coffee at home. So it's all about the coffees, it's all about the equipment, it's all about the process. There's hundreds of pages. Actually, there's over 1,000 pages now on that site. And before you freak out, like 1,000 pages, it's almost 20 years since I started
20
it. So it's
years. Crazy.
in January, it'll be its 20th birthday in January of
Oh,
2026.
fantastic.
So it's an information site, and I've had others. I've got one about mushrooms and fungi. So basically, it's a website on a topic that interests you. Like I'm super interested in coffee. I'm super interested in mushrooms and fungi, and I have other websites too. And in one sense, it's just a way for me to express and to publish and to share my interest in those things. So basically, that's it. It's a website on a topic that really interests you. And one of the side benefits of that is it can make you some money along the way, as a
So
publisher, as a creator.
And we have, I mean, people who have taken your courses have Andrew writes about Australian outback. Holly writes about the working at home opportunities. Jen writes about dog treats. I mean, we've had smoothies, we've had kettlebells, we've had
Yeah.
traveling, living all over the world. We've had raising kids of all different types and kinds. And whatever you're interested in is something that you could write about. And at the end, we're going to talk a little bit about how you might choose your best topic. But now we know what it is. Let's talk about the benefits, because the first one, of course, is making money. But I feel like a lot of them, there are so many of the opportunities actually, or so many of the benefits, not only are super interesting and beneficial, but actually lead to money in other places because they set you up for other opportunities, whether it's with clients, other client listings. So let's talk about the reasons or the benefits that come from having a money making website.
Yeah. So number one is just the generation of an extra stream of income.
Yeah.
Uh, but then number two to me is, and it's related, is the fact that this is independent. This is your own. This isn't reliant on having a client or having an employer or pleasing anyone else. This is your independent creation. And there's something very empowering about that. And there's something that is just a wonderful feeling of like, hey, I'm the boss of this. I will write this page. I don't want to write that page. I don't have to do what anyone else tells me to do. This is my baby, and I'll do what I want. So you're generating revenue, but you're independent. This is your thing. And to me, like I say, this is just like it's an empowering thing in one's life to be able to be in control of that and not answerable to anyone else about how you spend your time on your money making website. So that to me is a really important thing. I love that sense of independence.
If we could pause on that, because I agree from a
Yeah.
headspace mindset standpoint, it's interesting because my son is a neurodivergent, and so we make a lot of decisions in his life. And the other day, he had an opportunity. I said, "Wait, you know what? We make all your decisions for you. Why don't like you should have some opportunity to make some decisions?" And it really struck me as from a what you're saying right now really hits me as a human of just think about our lives, guys. How much is determined by other people, the world, society, our norms, our people pleasing, perfectionist, productivity, bosses, to have something where you don't have to ask permission in life that you own independently and that you're deciding and driving and there's no permission necessary. Like I do think that that's
Right.
actually a massive benefit that maybe I know we've never talked about it before, but maybe I'm becoming
I
more
don't
aware
think.
in my elder
Yeah,
age.
I don't think directly we have, but it's just
Ah,
something I'm aware of. I like to be
yeah,
independent. I like to be in control of my own destiny, and this is a way that I can express that,
I love
and I
it.
can do that, and I think it enriches me and people around me that I share the information with. Like with that Coffee Detective website, I've had hundreds and hundreds of questions sent to me through that. And then I answer every question. And then there's a comment stream. There have been thousands of comments under these questions. So, it, not only is this me having an independent source of interest and income, but I'm also engaging in this much broader community. So it's a way for me to reach out to the world, into the world, and engage with other people who share my interests. So it's a weird thing of modern technology. Like modern technology gives us this opportunity to reach out and engage, but it can also be very isolating. Just go on public transport and everyone is just staring at their
Sure.
phone. So it's isolating in that sense. But I've loved the fact that my websites, particularly the coffee website, because it's older. I mean, the friendships that I've made, the places that I've been to, the conversations that I've had because of that website have been enormous.
Crazy.
So that's yeah,
Okay. All right. So we've got make money and something that you own, which psychologically is an
right.
amazing thing. Debbie says, yes, it's amazing to me to be in control of your own future. 110%.
Yeah,
You're not asking for permission to increase your workload or decrease your workload or try this new advertising thing or this other way of making money. It is all yours. So, number three, what's our third?
number three is basically it's like the Coffee Detective site in a sense has been like a degree, a master's, and a PhD in online content creation, marketing, social media, SEO, for which I've been paid. Instead of paying $100,000 for that training, I've learned. So professionally, I'm a copywriter and I do digital copywriting. I advise companies on how to put together their websites and their newsletters and their email campaigns and their social media stuff. And if somebody said to me, which has been your most profound source of learning? I'd say it's my money-making websites. Because I learn by doing. I'm a terrible book learner. I always have been. Talk to my old teachers if they're still alive. I'm not good with book learning, but I'm really good at learning by doing stuff.
Yeah.
So when I build a site like Coffee Detective, and I build the homepage, I'm learning how to build homepages, and I can transfer that knowledge now to maybe working for clients if I want to. Content creation, like I say, there's over 1,000 pages on Coffee Detective. I've created that content. It has social media channels on YouTube and Facebook and all over the place. So I think I've had something like 2 million views of my Coffee Detective videos on YouTube. So I'm learning stuff. I'm learning how to do social media. I'm learning how to do search engine optimization. I'm learning how to do content creation. I'm learning, in a sense, to do website design. I'm not a designer by trade, but I am designing the look and feel of my own websites. And more recently, of course, I've been learning AI. Now, again, I can take a course, I can read the books, I can do that, which I've done. But again, the best way for me to learn is to apply AI to the creation and growth and management of my own independent websites. So this is, so it's, you're creating something because it brings you joy and independence and money, but it's also giving you this incredible layered benefit of, wow, I'm learning so much now. So if a prospective client says to me, do you know anything about content creation? I can go, duh. And because I can
Point them to your
to my,
website.
point to my website. Do you know anything about SEO? Yes, I do. I've done it. Every single page on that website is optimized for the search engines, and so on and so forth. So it's this fantastic way to learn about, if you live and work and make your living or want to make your living in the digital realm, this, I think, is the best and fastest way to learn, because you're learning by doing, and you're learning by doing something that you care about. So you have that kind of implicit kind of drive, that interior drive. I want this to be great because it's mine. It's my creation.
It's different when you're doing it for yourself. I 100% agree. And hands-on
Yeah.
experience, a lot of you writers who are brand new or starting your careers, you think about that thing, like, how do I feel confident? Well, confidence comes from experience, as our good friend Elise Bennon would say. That's how you build true. There's no button, there's no course you can take, there's no book. Confidence is from actually doing the thing. And so a money-making website gives you all that freedom to be able to do all of those things. Not only does it build confidence in yourself and your ability and learning because you're doing it hands-on, but it also gives you empathy when talking to clients, the really understanding, or other business owners, entrepreneurs, understanding what it's like to build something. And like Nick referred to his as, they're all my babies. Like, understanding that when we're talking to business owners, that's their baby. When you also have a baby, you talk about other people's babies differently. And I do think that the hands-on, not only does it help the brain learn it and you feel confident in your ability, but it helps you connect with other business owners, whether those are your clients or other entrepreneurs or people who are going to buy advertising on your money-making website or partnering with you or program. Like, there's so much that comes later that this hands-on experience really helps you understand kind of what everybody's doing out here.
So there's another layer to this, is that you talk about building confidence. I build confidence by playing and by tinkering. So if I do some work, let's say I create a content page for a client, and I create the page and they come back, and maybe maybe there's a small revision and it's done. And that's it. It's now gone out into the world. It's their page. When I create a page or update a homepage on one of my money-making websites, I'll do it. But then 2 weeks later, I might look at it and go, no, I think I'm going to tweak that a bit. I'm going to change that a bit. I'm going to add something here. I can't do that with my client work. I can't keep tinkering. And when I'm tinkering and playing, I'm learning. All right. Because I can track. I'll have, and we talk about this in the training, you can track how people interact with your website and how many people come there and how long they stay on a page. And I might look at a page and people aren't staying very long, and I'll go back and I'll think, I wonder why, and I'll play around with it and I'll make some changes and see if that helps. So when I do work for a client, I learn a certain amount. I've learned a lot from clients, particularly the clients I've enjoyed the most. I've learned a lot from, but it doesn't really compare with the depth of learning I get from my website, because I'm always in there. And when I finish a page, it's never finished. We're coming up to holiday season soon, so I'll be changing the home pages on my websites for gift giving and gift choosing and things like that. So so I'm learning there about how companies think about the seasons, which otherwise I might not have really thought about, but I think about it now because it's part of what I'm doing.
That's right. And I just want everyone to know, Michael, Andre, I see your guys' questions and I will ask them. I'm just going to fire through this section real quick, and then we'll definitely hit the Q&A. So if you have questions, definitely post them. We will have a whole Q&A session coming in just a few minutes. But let's go on to number 4. So we've got make money, independence, kind of having our own thing. And we've got this hands-on experience, this learning. What's number 4?
Just before we leave number 3, that AI thing, again, that's how I've learned AI, how to use AI for ideation. Give me some topic. Hey, I'll have a conversation and say, we need some more topic ideas for blog posts, or I want an image for such and such, or give me some background. I need some research on such and such. So that's had a big impact. It's allowed me to learn deeply about AI because I'm applying it to my own websites.
And we're going to talk about AI. I want to get into AI a little bit later because
okay, we're going to get that later. All right. So Number 4, topic authority. So this is related because you on the one hand now you're learning all these things like how to do content and SEO and social media, but there's also topic authority. So let me tell you a story. I have a website called Owning Gold. It's about gold bullion, and this has actually happened to me on another website as well. But the example I'll give you is my Owning Gold story. I got an email from somebody, and it was a referral. He said, "Nick, you don't know me, but we both know Jack or whoever it was. I have this precious metals website," and he said that you're a great copywriter, but do you know anything about precious metals? So I just wrote back an email and said, "Hey, thanks for your interest. As it happens, I do. I'm the writer and publisher of owninggold.com," and I put in the URL. And my email back was basically, "Yes, I do. Go check out my website." It was like 3 lines. Like 15 minutes later, within 15 minutes, he got back and said, "Done. You're hired." And I hadn't had to pitch myself. I hadn't had to send into my LinkedIn profile or to my about page or to my business, my nickosborne.com website. I just showed him proof of expertise. I've got business from coffee companies, coffee roasters and coffee producers and coffee equipment companies. I've had work from them in the same way. Either it's been a cold contact and they say, "Do you know anything about coffee?" And I go, "Duh," and point them. Or otherwise they say, "Hey, I was talking again, like to Jack, this imaginary Jack, and he said you're a great copywriter and that you know about coffee. Is this true?" "Yes, I do." So it's a great way to actually get clients, and it is just absolute proof of authority, proof of expertise. You don't have to pitch, you don't have to sell.
Mm-mm.
So if you're in a position where you actually can have if you're a professional content writer or digital creator, and let's say you are in the natural health niche, and your money making website is also related to natural health, then you have this symbiosis between your work and your play. So you're learning with your play becomes your authority, your topic authority, your proof of expertise when you're pitching clients. And so that whole thing that most of us dislike, which is selling ourselves in front of new clients, all of a sudden becomes much more easy because you just point to your money making website and it's proof that you know what you're talking about.
It's such a great way of reaching out to clients too, by the way, guys. If you take the program, we're going to talk about all the ways that you can make money with the Money Making website. There's lots of different ways. One of my favorite is through advertising. And so to be able to reach out to a client, potential client that you really want to write for, and say, "I've got a great opportunity for you." You're not even selling your ability. You're just reaching out because you have advertising, that you have an audience that they want, or you've reviewed their product, or you love their company and you wrote an article about, and to be able to say, "Hey, Nick, I wrote this great article. I'd love for you to come back about you. I'd like for you just to come to verify all the facts and make sure I have it right." Does that sound? Of course he's going to click on it. Of course he's going to. Now he's in my website. He's like, "Who is this? What is this? This person's just giving me free traffic and talking about my business. Oh yes, by the way, I can do this for you as well." So you become a colleague in the industry rather than like, "I'm a writer and I'm looking for clients." It's, "I'm also a business owner in this space, just like you, potential client. And I can also do work for you." I did have one question. Michael was asking, what level of knowledge do you need to show in order to establish credibility and draw followers? So like, this is authority to clients and other people. But when I'm making a money making website, do I have to pick a topic where I have a lot of information, or can I go into something totally blind and be learning it and publishing? And what do I need to actually attract people to? Not we'll talk about the SEO piece of it, but specifically like, this person knows what they're talking about.
Right. So let's take the coffee thing. What happened there is I went and spoke at a very, very small local business luncheon, and it was like there was like 20 people, and they were all eating dessert and drinking coffee while I was talking, which did not go down well with me. It's like,
You love the clinking of the plates on the forks and all the things.
I know. It's like,
It's his nightmare, guys.
Stop.
It's that sound.
Stop. Listen. At the end, this guy walks up and he says, "Hey, I need a website completely rebuilt. It's like an information site. I need an e-commerce site." And I said, "What's it about?" And he said, I'm a coffee importer and investor." So I had this, just from this horrible experience, out of it came one of my biggest clients. It was like a 6-month project. And at the end, I did this thing, which I often do in cases like that. I paused and I thought, right now in my head, I have all this huge amount of information about coffee and the coffee business. How can I leverage that? And my answer was, I'm going to build a website on that topic. Because it struck me that at that time, there really weren't many sites helping regular people make gourmet coffee at home. So did I know about the coffee business? The only thing I knew about it was after working to help that guy build his website. And when I started writing it, was I an authority? No, I wasn't. Same thing. My mushrooms, incredible mushrooms website. I can go to. That started when I read a book. I just read a book. I thought, man, this is fascinating. If you can say fascinating, I think I'll say something about it. Was I an expert? Absolutely not. I just read 3 or 4 books by then. By the time I started with the one book, I read some other books, so I knew a little bit what I was talking about. Then I started the beginning of the website, and then I built up my expertise bit by bit. Another way of tackling this is you can say, hey, you could be Rebecca, saying, I have a neurodivergent child. Join me on my journey. This is like a multi-year project for me and my family. I'm not an expert right now, but I'm going to share everything I know and learn. So you can actually say, I am a beginner. Join me on my journey.
I love that.
And that can be true across all kinds of topics. So that whole thing of, oh my goodness, but I'm not an expert at anything, Nick. Don't worry about that. So long as you have an interest or some kind of commitment to this, to the topic, you can either, hey, let's say the mushrooms and fungi. By the time I read 3 books on the topic, I knew more than 99% of the people who would come to my website because I haven't read 3 books on the topic. So you're already an expert if you just put a little research time in at the beginning. So don't ever let that stop you of, oh my goodness, I'm not an expert.
One thing you said once before, we were on a different webinar about just being successful as a freelancer, is that you noted my enthusiasm about things. And that always stuck with me, is that interest and enthusiasm trumps almost anything. So even if you're not an expert, but you are enthusiastic about the topic and wanting to learn and have interest and wanting to help people, I think that sells more than someone who's really good at what they're doing, but really could give a care less. There's just something about someone who genuinely wants to be there who's more compelling than somebody who's not.
Absolutely.
All right, we have to finish our other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have make money, be independent, hands-on experience, authority, and number 5.
Number 5 is, and again, it's all related, is enjoy the act of creation. My wife does watercolor painting. That's how she expresses herself creatively. I express myself creatively basically by building little websites and side businesses or whatever. And for me, it really is an act of creation, and it's how so I do it for pleasure as much as for the practical reasons.
The best.
And I'm ridiculous like that. I will come up with a new logo for something for a website. And then I'll go and have dinner or so. I'll go to bed and I'll jump out of bed. My wife will say, where are you going? And I say, hang on. And then I come back because I want to look at the homepage again, or I want to look at the logo again, or I want to look at something, because it's like, it's not my job. It's not, no one's telling me what to do, but it is me creating something. And it's, to Rebecca's point is like just the pleasure in it. And also we can get maybe into this later, is like I show that, like say on my mushroom website, I have photographs of me in the woods with my puppy, and I'm out there foraging for mushrooms. So I'm actually showing in real life my interest. On my Coffee Detective site, I have a number of pages devoted to a trip I took to Jamaica, to the Blue Mountains of Jamaica, one of the very, very best coffees in the world. And the government, the body responsible for coffee production in Jamaica, invited me over and took me on a tour. And so I've got hundreds of photographs of that. And again, this is me, like I say, it's an act of creation for me, but it's also an act of inclusion. It's an act of participation. It's an act of outreach. And yeah, so this whole thing is a mixture of practical stuff. Like, yes, it can generate monthly income. Yes, it can help you get a client. Yes, it increases authority with the client. And then the other hand is just the pleasure of independence, of creation, of building something that didn't exist before and is of value. I mean, I've had millions of visitors come to the Coffee Detective site, literally millions of visitors. And hopefully most of those have got some value from what I shared. And that's something, that's something to be able to do that and to be able to say that. And you probably have a topic up your sleeve where you could do that and you could reach out to, thousands or hundred thousands or in time, millions of people and share something that was helpful to them. Even if it's me helping someone make a better cup of coffee. It's a small thing, but it's a thing.
You know what's so crazy? I've been doing my job for over 20 years now. So you think I would be able to make the connections. But for the longest time, I've always said, like, I don't have an artistic outlet. Like I love to cook. And so I always fall back on that. Like, well, I cook. So that's in this moment, as you're talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, my job is my artistic outlet. Like I knew I loved my job. I knew I write every day. I'm involved in design and ideas. I love to create products. And I never associate until this moment that my job is my daily act of creation. The thing that I've tried other things. I'm not a good artist. It's just none of that stuff like really fills me. But you know what fills me is this. And I just put it together that my job is my hobby and my artistic expression. So thank you all for being part of my therapy session today. Like what?
Catching moment for us all.
But it's true. Like if y'all out there are like, what is your hobby? And many of us, I mean, I journal and things like that, but that to me like has never felt like I've created something. And then I just realized in this moment that yes, your job, your creation, this website of yours, or your like whatever you're working on, could actually be your art. And there's nothing I enjoy more. I love being here. Yeah. I'm like you. I jump out of bed excited to work on the next promotion or write the next article or have the next interview and help the next person. So thank you. Thank you for that, Nick. Okay, so we have our 5. So now I want to talk a little bit just for anybody, and I see a couple questions in here about this, about the creation piece, because website sounds super scary. So for those of us who aren't technically inclined, what are like the basic steps for creating? And I know you go into it in the program in depth, but what are kind of like, what do I have to know that I'm getting into if I say I want to do this?
All right. So if you've never built a website before, there's a learning curve there. And again, for me, when I see a learning curve, I'm yay, because I love to learn, but I love to learn by doing. So if you've never built a website before, there's a learning curve, and there's several different platforms you can use where you can build a website. There are some platforms that are better suited to this kind of website where you're going to end up with dozens and maybe hundreds of pages over time. But yeah, we talk about that in the program, and it is a step-by-step process. That said, there are a lot of this is part of the kind of artificial intelligence story. I keep an eye out for this, and what's happening now is that people are beginning to build tools that allow you basically to get into conversation with an AI and say, hey, here's what I want to do, here's what I want my homepage to look like, and you're just describing as if you were talking to some professional, and you can now create a website and publish it just through AI. We are almost there of the entire process. So people who were building their website for the first time 5 years ago was a very different experience. Now it is getting easier, but yes, it's one of the processes where there is a learning curve if you've never done it before. But learning curves are good. They're fun. Don't be scared of it. Hey, don't be scared of it, because literally, I don't know how many thousands of people have built websites through this course. And I would say probably 90% of them started out thinking, oh my goodness, that's scary. I've never built a website before. And they end up building a website. And many of them are fantastic. Well, we have a whole catalog of fantastic websites.
So many fantastic websites. Interesting. Andrea is saying she's working with Substack, creating her own e-newsletter for retirees. Great audience, Andrea. The website is part of their platform. Should I also create a separate website though? So for people who have a Substack newsletter, are you recommending also doing a money-making website, or is it like a either or type proposition? I'll tell you what I think. You tell me yours.
What do you think?
I say yes.
Tell me what you think.
I say yes.
You say yes to both.
Both. And because there's no penalty. Like, why wouldn't you publish the content in both places? The newsletter is much more of like a throw it out there and it's there. but you can have the content on your website. And also, for me, I want full ownership. Even though I believe in Substack, it's a great platform, I want full ownership of my name. I want full ownership of all the content I've written. I want copyright, all of it. And so I would be duplicating all the time anyways, and then adding more to my website. You could have your membership site. I mean, we could go down a whole rabbit hole, but I say both.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of websites. I'm a big fan of Substack. I have a Substack newsletter. But to Rebecca's point, this goes all the way back up to number 2 point, which is independence. Now I can, if I publish on Substack, it's great, and I'm sure they'll be around for a long time. But there's no guarantee. I'm basically renting space on their platform. Whereas if I have a website like Coffee Detective, so long as I pay for my domain each year and my hosting each year, that's mine, 100% mine. It's my intellectual property. I've got my copyright notice at the bottom of every page, and it's mine. And that is important to me, because, like I say, hey, Facebook, they can ban you. LinkedIn can ban you. Like website, and I guess it can happen on Substack too. I haven't heard of that happening, but they can, because it's their place. It's not your place. So for that reason, I would. Is this absolutely the answer for every single person? Maybe not. But if you have the time and you have the interest, then I would certainly pursue both.
I agree. And again, we don't want to cause a fear that anything would happen in Substack, but you might decide one day in the future that you want to change direction. And Substack is its own ecosystem, right? But there is a world of people who are not in Substack also. And so for me, I don't want to be limited to any one person's ecosystem. I want all the ecosystems to be able to have audience and traffic as well.
Well, and that's true as well. So if, for example, like some of my many web, I use 1 or 2 different platforms, but a couple of my sites are on WordPress, which again gives me complete freedom. Like there are hundreds of thousands of like plugins. There's the membership plugin, there's the payment plugin, there's the newsletter plugin, there's so I'm free to build it out in any way I want. If you're on Substack or some other platform, Substack is fairly broad in what it offers, but it doesn't offer everything.
Right.
So you have to live within what they provide within their ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean that's always been the benefit of customizing and making, you're making what you want to do your own. We're getting a lot of great questions. I think this might be one of our best Q&As. So I want to make sure we get to the questions.
Okay.
You wanted to though touch on, because you talked about AI a little bit. For those of you who've ever not moved forward with a money making website, because you hear things like 1,000 pages, like what? There's so many ways that AI does increase speed these days. Nick, you talked about using AI to potentially build your website, like to actually do the technical piece. What are some of the other ways AI gives you speed? Not just the general how you use it across all the things, because I know you use it in a lot of places, but specifically with the money making website. We love acronyms here, AWAI. So we call this the MMW. How do we use AI for speed and kind of to get us around some of the things that might have felt overwhelming in the past?
So there's a lot of people, when they talk about AI, think about 2 things: writing and productivity. And yes, these models are getting better and better at writing. And yes, they can increase your productivity because they get stuff done so fast. But for me, probably the most valuable use case for AI with a money-making website is ideation. So I might put together a list of links to my top 10 pages or my top 10 blog posts or whatever, and I'll say to GPT-5 or Gemini or to Claude, hey, these are my top performing topics for this website. Give me 5 more that these people would also like. And it comes up with a whole list of ideas. It could be 10 ideas, it could be 20 or 50 ideas. And I'll go through those and I'll find topics that I would never, ever have thought of on my own. So I have on my Mushroom website, I have two of my top performing pages in terms of traffic through Google came about, they're topics that I had never considered on my own. One is about mushrooms and mythology. I'd never thought of that, but it's a thing. And the other was all about mushroom events all over North America, which I should have thought of, but I hadn't. And those 2 pages now get a huge amount of traffic. So that ideation of like, it's like having a partner with you, someone that you're no longer alone trying to figure out what to do or what to say or what things should look like or how to design something. It's like you got these 3 people around the desk with you. And you say, hey, Jack, I got this thing with Jack. Hey, Jack, what do you, what should we do next? What do you think people, hey, based on this data, what do you think we should do next? Or based on how popular this Facebook post was, what's that telling us? Or can you give me an update on this, on the gourmet coffee industry? I can go up to Gemini Deep Research and get a huge, 5-figure value report, and I can read through there, and then I can. So yes, it makes me more productive. I can write faster because I might once I got a topic, and I did a test. So this will freak everyone out.
Oh, great. You know how much I love to be freaked out.
I know. So I did a test on one of those pages I talked about, the mythology thing. So I said, oh, that's interesting. Go on, write it then. And so it wrote a whole blog post on mushrooms and mythology. And what normally happens 9 times out of 10 is maybe if I ask these models to create a first draft, I go in and do some rewriting, particularly the beginning and the end. And there's other bits I'm not sure about, and I cut and paste. And sometimes I think to myself, you know what, I should have just written it myself. In this particular case, it came up with it, and I went through it and I thought, man, this is really.
Yeah.
So I just published it as is, and it did well. So as a writing partner, what you always have to bring in is your human judgment. So sometimes it writes really well and you can let it just go for it. Other times it doesn't and you step in. But it has helped me create more content, because even if it's not 100%, if it's 80% there, then it's much faster for me. And I can say, hey, make sure that you cite sources for every claim you make. So it's going through 20 different citations. I don't have time for that, or I wouldn't have done that. So it allows me to, it's a discovery tool, it's an ideation tool, it's a research tool, an analysis tool. And yes, it makes me more productive. And yes, in certain cases, it can help me write good stuff.
Awesome. And for those of you out there listening who are still on the AI, like, I don't know, the big conversation right now, Nick, is around creativity, and that the writers are wanting to be creative, and AI is taking the creativity. And you all, let's go back to number 2, independence. You can do whatever the heck you want. So if AI helps you, awesome. If it does the things that you don't want to do, great. I love to write. I love a blank page and putting my words and just throwing it up on the paper and coming back to it, then do that. Do the pieces that you love and let AI do the other things. I'm all about, using it to fuel creativity rather than taking it away from us. That is not, and if you get it and you use it more often, you will see what the reality is of the situation. But if you're feeling a little fearful, I know this sparks a lot of conversation whenever we talk about AI. We're not gonna just say it takes away your creativity and then it's gonna build your website for you. It does take you. It takes your heart. Show me an article written by AI about neurodivergent parenting, and then show me one written by a human who is a parent of a neurodivergent child, and I will tell you which one's real. I will tell you the one that talks to me. Your stories, your feelings, your spin on everything matters, and it is what will differentiate your money-making website from anybody else's out there.
So it also depends on what you're doing. So like Rebecca's example, or let's say my professional newsletter. I write. It's me. I am my brand. My voice is my brand. How I write is my brand. AI never does any of that. But if I'm writing like the 5 top coffee producers in the world, I can do that. I can have that written by AI.
Yep.
It doesn't need my special interpretation or vision of the world.
My creativity around the 5 best producers.
Right. And so it can do that. So there are some types of content where I'll use AI a lot. There's other areas where I won't use it at all, because I know that I have spent 20 years building trust, a relationship of trust with an audience. And I don't want to risk that by using AI, because, hey, so maybe this is a good point. One thing I wanted to raise out is proof of human. So like Rebecca says, she can spot AI in her topic area. I can spot AI written stuff pretty well. And there is this thing called AI slop. So there are a lot of companies out there, baddies, who go out and they will create 5,000 blog posts a day and publish them. No human sees them. and they're pretty easy to identify. And people, it's not just Reka, people don't like that. There's a lot of data on this. People do not like it when they identify something as written by AI. They don't trust it. They don't like it. They lose trust in the source, in the brand, in the publisher. So this proof of human thing, I was talking about me having photographs of me and my dog walking in the woods foraging for mushrooms. That's proof of human. This is really me with my puppy, who's much better looking than me. Me and my puppy and mushrooms. That's proof that this is me. This is human. So whatever you're doing, whatever topic you choose, if you can do that. So I have pictures of myself at coffee events, coffee conferences, and that coffee trip I took to Jamaica. It's proof of human. It's the real me. And that is going to become more and more important as the world engages more and more with AI, is that people will be drawn to that sense of, hey, this is real. This is Rebecca talking about something that is very close and dear to her. This is Nick, who for some reason gets super excited about so many different subjects, but I see he's there and engaged and doing it in person. So that will be a very, very powerful part, I think, of whatever you choose to do, is to kind of be there, proof of human.
Yeah. And like, if we wanted to hear what AI had to think about the topic, we would just use AI to ask the questions about the topic, right? It's you building this relationship also. And I do think we're finding more and more like that connection of real person is making us all more human as well, which is a good thing. So let's talk about topics.
We seek it out. We seek out the humanity. We want to reach out and touch,
That's why I do with our Circle of Success program. I'm doing more one-on-one coaching than I've ever done before at AWI for the last probably 6 months to a year. And I love it. I really thought it was going to be hard, but the one-to-one connection that I'm having it's amazing. It's great to see their success, and it's great to see just to know the story and understand it from them rather than just this surface level stuff. But so now, guys, let's get into a little bit of creativity. Let's think about your money making website. We got a lot of questions around topics, but Nick, I would love, so I'm gonna answer y'all's questions. But first, Nick, when choosing a topic, do you have any best practices? And I know we go into this a lot in the program. And if you take Nick's program, he'll actually thumbs up or thumbs down. Well, he'll thumbs up it, or he'll tell you how you might correct it. If you want to, we have a private Facebook group that he is in. And so you'll vet your idea before you actually move forward through the program. But what are kind of your quick tips or best practices for picking a topic?
So there are two layers to this. One, do you love it? Which speaks to everything we've been talking about, that act of creation, that proof of human, that independence. It has to be a topic. I know people have said they've chosen a topic like, I'm going to do investment banking because there's lots of money in that. And then they kind of run out of things to say after 2 months because they're just not into it. It's just not important to them personally. They're just seeking, them up for money. And it's happened to me. I've started things which I didn't love, and they just, as soon as you get busy with stuff, you push them to one side. So step one is to choose something that really does interest you. So every website I've started is something that does interest me, and it still interests me, even 2 decades later or a decade later.
Amazing.
So that's the first thing, because you can't make this work without some kind of engagement and passion, and people have got to feel that you are excited about this topic. The next thing, and we talk about this in more detail in the training, is you got to do this kind of balance. Is like, if you said to me, Nick, I want to write a website about alternative health again, then I'd say, well, have you got a particular aspect of that you want to talk about? Because alternative health is this huge topic, and the competition you'll be facing is massive. So you're going to find this sweet spot where you've got enough people interested, but you don't have massive, big media players. Like if I said, I want to write a money-making website about money. No, because there's already a gazillion websites and publications out there that have established brands talking about money as a huge topic. But if you want to talk about, how to put aside money for my kids' education, like a niche within money, that's what we're looking at. Is you want it niche enough that you're away from the big competition, but not so niche that there's only 5 other people in the world who are interested. So my gourmet coffee, and there's more competition now than there was when I started out with Coffee Detective. I identified that, yes, this is a topic that people are interested in, making gourmet coffee at home. And no, there aren't that many big players already in this space, so I have a chance of being seen. It's not too noisy or competitive. So one, something that you love to write about and share with other people. Two, a niche where there are enough people interested, but not too much competition from the big players.
So Elizabeth, hopefully that answered your question, but if you want to follow up with a more specific question, hers was, is the market saturated with blogging and or one specific topic, or is it harder to break into this market and or gain traffic? And I do have a traffic question specifically coming, but the next one, Deidre might have, it's a little more specific. Regarding topics, mental health is too vague, but PTSD is a niche, or does it need to be more of a niche PTSD in non-veterans, like a niche? Jade, can you pop these questions? Jade's in the background. If she can pop those questions up, I think that will help us also from a visual to make sure everybody sees the question. But so she's saying, mental health feels too vague. PTSD is niche, or does it need to be like a niche, like PTSD in non-veterans?
So if you take the training, I go through the use of various tools where you can try to find answers to exactly that. So I'll give you one right now. You can go to Google Trends. Just type in Google Trends in Chrome or whatever, and you'll find the URL. Go there, and you can throw in there topic ideas, and Google will show you. Oh, you would have it over the last day, the last month, the last 5 years, the last 10 years or whatever, and it'll show you people's interest in that and how much the interest is. So that's just one tool you can use. There are others. So yeah, sometimes like if it's PTSD in non-veterans, then that's a very particular niche. So long as you have enough as long as there's enough interest out there, that's a kind of interesting one because a lot of the time we associate PTSD with veterans. But of course, they're not the only people who suffer from it. So that's kind of that tweaks that makes me. I think to myself, huh, interesting.
So look at that. And then remember, guys, you can always, the way I always think about marketing is we can always start small. People's instinct is to go wide as possible. But the reality is it's easier to go bigger and bigger and bigger than to try to get any traction if we're too wide. So I'm a believer in like pick a niche and then you can always expand the rings, right? So I can start PTSD non-veteran. And then I could say I have a segment of PTSD children, PTSD, teens. Like you could continue to expand. So don't worry like, well, if I niche like this, then I can't get any bigger. You totally can. And we call it like one step removed. It's easier to pull more people into the bucket when they're just one step. But if you go too broad and everybody's in that space, it's a lot harder to get any attention because there's so many. The other thing I wanted to say is that when you have a specific interest, anybody who's researching PTSD right now, who's a non-veteran, is looking for someone who understands their needs because they're saying everything out there is for this niche. So I'm looking for somebody that's talking to me. Those people do not just look for one website. So even if you guys find 2 or 3 other people out there in the space, it doesn't mean that you all can't work together and that all can exist.
Right.
There's a lot of benefit for collaboration. I almost don't like to find a niche where there's nobody in it because at this point of the world, it makes me think nobody's looking for this thing. There should be a little bit of activity out there. And again, like Holly, one of my best friends with her work at home site, she's partners and friends with all of the other, they're all working in the same ecosystem on the same topic, and they are all successful because they just do it all a little bit different. They have a little bit, it's like
and there always will be competitors. And what I suggest to people is say, okay, if you find there's 10,000 competitors, go to page 2 on a Google search, click through to their websites, and just ask yourself, could I do better than that? And the answer is almost always yes.
Exactly.
Because there is a huge amount of competition, but the quality of that competition is a whole different story.
The quality and then even the styling of it. Like that's how Holly started hers. She was doing research for me on the work at home space. And she's like, these websites suck. I could do so much better than this. And that's how she started. But it might even just be that like they're all serious and you have a more playful tone, or they're all playful and you have a more serious tone. Like even that can differentiate and help you connect with people who feel kind of unseen, unheard, unidentified in whatever they're trying to research. The more we can really grab someone and say, I get you, the more opportunity we have to connect. We got one more. So if anyone else has more questions, definitely post them. I have a couple more. Now we're going to talk about traffic and money, but real quick, I want to make sure I'm just watching the time that you all are aware. So Nick has agreed to do, normally the program is an evergreen program that you go through, but he has decided, actually, Nick has agreed to, because I went to him and said, I have this really cool idea. We're nearing the end of the year. And what if we could really motivate people to do this? Because I have this vision in my head of everybody at New Year's, and we're all celebrating our new money-making websites, and how fun that would be to say, like, we don't have to come up with New Year's resolutions because we already did them. We're going to the end of the year to finish strong, rather than saying, this is what I'm going to do in 2026. I had this visual of all of us like doing it now and like starting 2026 already up and going, rather than saying, then we're going to do it next year. Then I'm going to do it. So I went to Nick and I said, okay, so this is the visual that I have in my head that I want everybody cheersing with whatever they want, champagne, sparkling wine, whatever, sparkling water, whatever your thing is, beer, coffee. But like, let's get together and like do this. This is the end. Instead of it being, I'm going to do it next year. Let's finish the year already having it done. And then we just get to start our New Year's like already underway, rather than like trying to like lift something from the ground. And he was like, that's a great idea. What do you need? I said, well, I really need, like, he's always engaged in the program, but I said, what I really need is live, like movement. I need you to get on and rally them and get them motivated and get them to do it now. So it's not like I buy this course, bright shiny object, and I put it away and I'm going to do it one day, but like, I'm going to take this course and I'm going to do it now. So he's like, that's a great idea. So we came up with, he's going to actually kick this whole thing off and create a cohort. So if anyone's bought money making websites before and just didn't get it done, you can still come in. There's nothing extra. You can still join in this new cohort. And if you're brand new, it's the best time to get in, because Nick is going to get in this group with you guys, get you going, get you started, be present along the way, and then close this thing down with website reviews. So if you get in here and you're doing it, he'll actually go through the websites and tell you what he would make stronger. He's going to validate your topic so that you know you're on the right track. You have access to him through the Facebook group in between, but we do have these kind of, I call them the anchors, the kickoff, and then the, did I do it right? Am I doing a good job? And him to say yes, and here's what I would do to continue on. And then AWI came behind and said, okay, that's awesome. We've got a motivation to get started now. So we're not just going to buy a course and hope that one day we do it. We're going to actually do the thing. We're going to learn all this stuff, start getting these benefits. Nick's going to say, yes, you're on the right track. And then AWI is going to come behind and incentivize you. So if you get your website up before the end of the year with this program, we're going to give you $1,000 in AWI credits, which is, as I say,
can I have $1,000?
I almost choked on my
$1,000 in
words
credits
right now because I didn't know. I told the group $500, and then I went to Mexico with my girlfriends, and I came back from my girls trip, and they're like, blah, 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 and it's going to be like this. Oh, and by the way, we doubled the incentive. Anyways, you're going live tomorrow on Facebook. I'm like, blah, blah. What? What do you mean we're doubling the incentive? And they're like, oh yeah, we already done. It's already, we changed. I'm like, you changed my words, yep. We changed it from 500 to 1,000. I was like, okay. They said your goal is to get as many websites done as possible. So this is what's going to push people to get it done. There's $1,000 that you can use on anything, like any live training. You can use it on Circle of Success. You can use it anywhere. If you just get your website up, we're going to hand you a $1,000 voucher that you can use on anything, anytime at AWI. It doesn't expire. So hopefully with all of that together, you have more motivation than you could ever have just like living in the world, as if it wasn't motivation enough to have an income stream, extra income stream, to have this thing that you're building, to have the best sandbox, to have hands-on experience, to be able to work with clients that you can't even imagine right now because you are one of them, and to have this thing of creation, to have art that you're building and can show your partner, your friends, your family, like, look what I did, look at what I'm doing, y'all. Like, this is amazing. And at the end of the year, we'll cheers, knowing that we don't have to create New Year's resolutions because we are already underway. So all the information is there, adbright.com/make money. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Otherwise, I'm going to jump back into y'all's questions. So this one is about traffic. Chris wants to know, he's curious about website traffic. You know, Google is a hot mess. We all know this to be true. And so are you going to be talking at all about other traffic sources? And for those of you who don't know why Google's a hot mess right now, it's just because its own AI tool is really confusing and mucking about the stuff. Although interestingly, we are seeing traffic from other Google ways, but that's a conversation for future us. Do you cover traffic from other sources in the program?
Yeah, we do. We do. So traditionally, over the years, Google has always been the primary source. And for my sites, it still is, but it's there's the AI thing, but also they've made some algorithmic changes of their own, and they've got their own. So it's that hot mess thing. It's much less predictable. And again, that's why I'm saying step out and be proof of human. So if you can get out more into social media, if you can get out into groups and contribute and say, hey, I'm the person behind and blah, 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 then yeah, we need to look at, and also there's one type of money making website we haven't talked about, which is the local one. One of our favorite money making websites that I have was this. He's like a limousine driver in a particular, I think he's in New York City, and his story is his website's about his experience talking with people in the limo. It's just a beautiful, wonderful idea. He's local, all right. So he could put stickers, or he could put stickers on bus shelters or whatever. So if you're local, you can go to meetups, you can talk to local newspapers and radio stations. So yes, the answer is we do talk about it. And yes, with Google being a bit of a hot mess, it's still can still be a significant source of traffic. But I would recommend that you explore others. And I think again, like with a lot of these things, that whole proof of human thing is going to be a big factor in that. To make yourself in your website attractive to people, you attract them by being there as a human.
100%. And then even again, ecosystems like Substack. I just started a new Substack for ADI. I have a Substack coming for myself because they have a whole group. Like their audience is so big and everyone's putting their audience into Substack right now. Major companies are taking their whole lists and sticking them in Substack. They're going to become the new pool to pull from. So if you don't have a Substack, I recommend one. If you have a Substack, think of it that way. I'm building my Substack just to create my list for my money making
Well,
website.
and also, it's also going to depend on your topic. Like, say, if you, let's say you were in the fashion space, then being on TikTok, being on Instagram
Instagram, yep.
could be huge for you. If you are in food or home decoration, then being on Pinterest can be huge for you. There's websites out there where 90% of their traffic is referrals from Pinterest. So if you're very image heavy, let's say it's pets or it's recipes or it's home decoration, stuff that's very, very visual like that, then yeah, that some of these more visual places can be huge sources. And yeah, if a particular demographic, if it's younger people and it's music or fashion, then TikTok can be huge.
Yeah, agree. And with
There's-
AI, guys, like being able to create one thing and then have AI spin it into a whole bunch of other things. Talk about,
oh yeah,
it used to be that it was
I did.
overwhelming.
Oh, I know. So I do that all the time. Like say I've co-written a blog post with AI. I say, okay, spin me out
COVID.
10 X tweets for that, or spin me out 10 potential Facebook updates for that. I don't use them all. I'll pick and choose. Say if there's
Yep.
10, 3 of them, I'll think that's good. And I'll add something and I'll maybe, I'll say, oh, give me some ideas for tags for this topic, for this publication. So it's just it's my partner.
Your partner. I love it. So
Yeah.
I have just really quick. Meredith is saying, I can't find the question button. Where are the ways to make money? That's actually covered in the promo extensively. So if you guys have questions like that, like all the ways that we cover monetizing a money making website, go to adby.com/make money. I wrote extensively all of that just so that you can really understand. There's at least, looking at it right now, there's at least half a dozen that I cover in it. And that's not even all.
In the program, there are 9. There's
9.
8 plus a bonus. So 9 different ways to make money from your site.
And then Amy, you're asking, do you have to pay for traffic with ads or funnels? You do not. I actually wouldn't recommend it unless you're really, really good at it. That's something that would happen when you're way more advanced down the line. I don't know a single money making website owner who is successfully paying for traffic. And as somebody who does buy traffic on a regular basis, it is a very hard game to play right now. And I do not recommend it. I want you to follow the ways that Nick shows you, which is all.
Yeah, that's part of the thesis of the money making website thing, is that we don't pay for traffic.
We don't pay. So all you're going to be paying for those who are asking about the cost, you're going to pay for the program, which is, details are there. We even have it on sale right now. So it's on sale. Plus you get the $1,000 incentive if you put your website up. And we are not going to verify like, oh, well, you didn't do it the way that we said. It's going to be your website's up and going. Here's your $1,000. We're not that kind of company that's like, you didn't jump through the hoops while standing on your head and touching your nose. So therefore you don't get to have that's not us. It is, hey guys, I got my website up. We're gonna be like, that's amazing. Here's $1,000. So don't even worry about that. And then this one I wanted you to answer though. Terry's saying, I am shooting for health and wellness topic for people with chronic conditions, interpreting clinical research in lay terms. Is that too broad? What do you think about that topic?
I would have to research, and then I'd go into AI to help me research. Terry, go to Gemini 2.5 deep research, and you can ask some questions and get some answers on that. It sounds quite broad because there are a lot of different chronic conditions. So yeah, it's very hard for you. You put me in a spot here. That could be fine. My first instinct would be to go a little narrower, find a subset of people with chronic conditions.
Good. That Gemini deep research, like being able to really understand it. Another way I always think about market is who. So it's like people are searching for chronic conditions, or am I going for people who are 50 plus and those kind of chronic conditions? Am I going for youth in chronic conditions? Is it a certain specific demographic or set of chronic conditions? Because the more, just like copywriting, the more we can identify who we're talking to and have empathy for their situation, the better all of our stuff is going to be. It's going to be more focused, more targeted, and they're going to feel seen and heard. And I'm with you, Nick. It's hard to like, we would do the research that you're doing as well.
Right.
All right, Nick, I am going to give you the final. If there are any other questions, I'm going to say going once. I don't see any other questions. Going twice. I hope all of you join us in this big finish to 2025. And then we should have like a Zoom where everybody's on the screen and we should all toast our money making websites. I have an idea for a new one. My daughter has an idea for one. My husband. So we're all kind of like,
excellent.
This stuff is somewhat self-serving. Like, we're going to build our websites, guys. Let's get ADVI to like incentivize everybody.
I bet his family's going to take all the $1,000 checks.
No, I'm like, we got to get Nick to teach us live because it'll help us. We'll get motivated this way. Hey, Nick, can we do a promotion? It all works out in the end. But I hope you guys do join us. And now, Nick, I'm going to give you the final words of this.
So sometimes when I think like some point in the future, I will retire and I'll stop doing all this working stuff and I'll stop having clients, and I might even close down my LinkedIn profile and close down my website. I'll be retired. Yeah. But when I think about it, I think, you know what I'll still have? I'll have my little babies. I'll have my money-making websites. I'm not going to retire them. So that to me is like when everything else is peeled away and I'm done with work, what will I keep? I'll keep my money-making websites because they are my creation. They're my source of self-expression. They're my connection with the world out there. They're my connection with other people who share my weird little collection of interests. So yeah, they'll be the last baby standing when the day comes and I don't do this for a living anymore.
I think you just wrote our next promotion for money-making websites. How have we not talked about that before? Building something today that will give you the best retirement.
And it's a legacy. So it's a retirement income on one hand, but then maybe I pass it on to one of my grandkids. Like, hey, do you want to, you're interested in this. Do you want to carry on?
Well, they say happy retirement these days. It's not like checking out and going to watch, game shows the rest of your life on the couch. We still have a lot of life in front of us after we retire. Yeah. And to be able to make money, but also to keep using our brains and stay connected and to be creative is pretty much, I think that sets up for a happy human.
So it's true to say, right? It's just next week. So if you sign up now, then I'll see you on, what is it, Wednesday?
Jade. I know.
I guess. Hang on.
But yes, it's
Tuesday. Next Tuesday. I'll see you on Tuesday. Sign up now and I'll see you on Tuesday. So we do that first live introductory session to get you moving through the program. And then I catch up with you again live at the end to review your fabulous website.
Perfect. So all you have to do today is go to advi.com/make money, read the letter that I wrote so that you understand the whole picture. We talk about how you're going to make money. We talk about AI. We talk about the current climate. We talk about topics. Everything is covered in there. Mm-hmm. Make your decision. Sign up this week. That's all you got to do. And then you'll join us next Tuesday and we'll kick this thing off. All right, Nick, thank you so much for being here today. This was so much fun. I always get so reinvigorated. So thank you.
You're welcome. Always a pleasure. And thank you for everyone for being here.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.